Welcome everyone back to another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son George. I was my mother's caregiver after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Unfortunately, she passed on 1/1/2020, but we started TogetherForSharon.com in her memory. I try to find unique stories and journeys, but today, individual, somebody who means so much to me and so many others, and I just want the world to know about the inspiring work she's doing. We've known each other for a year. It's amazing how quickly time goes, but every time I go to Instagram or see your videos, I really want to kind of get up no matter what's going on in my life and keep fighting. So it's an honor, Doctor, to have you here today. And I think this is an important topic. I haven't had a lot of therapists on or physical therapists, but I could tell you stories maybe later about, my mother's journey. And it was really hope. And hope is about all people with Parkinson's, at least my mother has. Unfortunately, the last year she went to long-term hospice, which was a new program in Florida, and they didn't believe in therapy. And that was literally the day I think she lost hope. And I wish she had met you. I wish we had, video like shows like this then, because I think not only would you have made her smile, but you probably would have improved her life and slowed the progression. So again, it's an honor to have you, Katie, here with us today.
Oh, thank you, George. I really appreciate being here today.
Well, I'm really excited and so much to talk about and never get to it all, but let's try and jump right in. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background, but also how did the world of, the Parkinson's community kind of join with the medical professional field that you're involved?
Yeah, so I am Dr. Katie. I am a neurologic physical therapist. I have specialized in neurologic physical therapy for the last 8+ years, and I am a board certified neurologic clinical specialist. So I underwent additional training because I love neuro so much. And I really fell in love with working with the Parkinson's population because of the uniqueness that Parkinson's has, in that the single best intervention is exercise and movement. And I thought, how cool, I can use my profession, my love of this health and wellness and exercise and movement to help inspire and give people better lives. And I started my company, Move by Movement, about 2 years ago in late 2022, which offers fitness coaching and wellness services specifically and exclusively for people with Parkinson's. I do group outdoor exercise classes and an online group coaching program to provide more accessible care to the Parkinson's community. So I'm really excited to be here and to talk to people more about ways that they can help improve their symptoms and slow disease progression, because of course your pill that you take for your Parkinson's care is very important, but there are so many other things that I hope I can inspire your listeners today to understand that they can do to help change their long-term trajectory of living with Parkinson's through exercise.
Well, I appreciate it and you inspire me. I recommend anyone who is on social media to follow you, and we'll share all that in a minute. But a lot of the videos are very informative, important, and not just me, throwing out some beautiful pictures and things that I try to catch people's attention, but you actually give the medical background, which I cannot do. So obviously, everyone try your own movement specialist, but I recommend to speak to Dr. Katie about some important things. And now today, due to virtual, you can likely meet with her on virtual too. So let me actually just start there with, and as I share, first, I wanted to thank you again for the interview that we did. It's amazing. That was September 14th. So it's a time flies, and Move by Movement is incredible. Also, everyone, if you go to TogetherForSharon.com, just click interviews, you'll be able to see Dr. Katie and a lot more about her background and also how to reach her. But maybe you could touch a little bit about what do you think, or what do you wish people knew more about exercise? Because, everyone needs to do exercise, whether it's the individual diagnosed and also the caregivers. That it makes it a little more fun, I think.
Yeah. So I really think it's key to stress before we get into some more details about that. Exercise is very key for the management of Parkinson's. So to date, it is the single best intervention for Parkinson's care without negative side effects. That part is key because medication can always bring some negative side effects. Medication is very important, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying don't ignore that part. But currently, our meds to treat Parkinson's are for symptomatic management. The thing that has been research shown to actually improve symptoms and change disease course is Parkinson's if you do the correct kind of exercise. So when people come into my membership, one of the biggest mistakes I see people making is they aren't challenging themselves enough with their exercise. Research-backed exercise, or research-backed sorry, excuse me, the research, I'm so passionate about this. The research has shown that exercise, high intensity aerobic exercise, has been shown to slow disease progression. So people need to push themselves more. Now, a variety of exercise is very key, of course. There are certain kinds of exercise that get you stronger. There are certain kinds of exercise that change your flexibility and improve your flexibility. But as mentioned, it's really that high intensity aerobic exercise that has the ability to change your long-term trajectory living with Parkinson's.
Thank you. And I wish we had an actual gym in my mother's house, but really didn't have any professional showing her what to do. And I think obviously you can't look back, but I wish we had you in our life or somebody with your background, because I think it might have made an impact. We don't know again what happened the last 4 years, why so progressed so quickly, but I do believe in what you're doing and appreciate it. Everyone, please go to Moved by Movement pt.com, and that's where you can also click Facebook and Instagram, and that's again my favorite, Dr. Katie's, because I don't know if we'll be, oh, actually we can access it now. I logged on my account, but I am always fascinated about all the posts because they're so informative. It's not, again, just kind of, fight the cure, or fight for a cure, which I try to promote, but it's actually physically showing individuals how to exercise, what to do, maybe improve, and if you're lacking certain specific exercises, maybe this will also help teach you them. Is there one specific one that you recommend? I know they're all important, but is there one that might be the most, I don't want to say best, but the most variety that should be used daily?
Exercise you're talking about?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, so of course, as I said, a well-rounded variety of exercise is very important. So you shouldn't be just doing one type of exercise, because you need to still work on things like your flexibility and your balance, and some type of exercise doesn't address that as great. But the really important thing that I think people should be focusing on, as I mentioned, is that high intensity aerobic exercise piece. And then exercise that are what I call skill-based exercises to work on amplitude and moving nice and big and powerful to override the Parkinson's symptoms that cause your movement to be small and slow. Those are two very important key pieces. One is to help with the brain and slowing disease progression, and then the other one is very Parkinson's specific to work on moving big and powerful. And I think those are two very key elements to people's exercise that they should be working on. I do want to talk a little bit more about high intensity aerobic exercise. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but I want to explain a little bit more of some of the research that supports why it is so important. Because I can sit here and tell everybody like it's really important that you do it, but I think it's really helpful to like back that up with like information and facts.
Okay, don't mind me
Just
playing a little video of you as we do it. I always,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Of
love when
course, no
everybody
problem.
sees himself and they're like, then I used to while you're
Yeah.
talking.
Oh, totally. I want to just talk about real quickly like two articles. Um, so this one article was published by, his name is Dr. Alskog. He is a very respected movement disorder neurologist that practices out of the Mayo Clinic. He's also a researcher, and he has published many articles on Parkinson's and exercise. And what he did is he compiled a literature review, which is the fancy term is a systematic review, where he looked at all of the research on Parkinson's and exercise and treatments for people with Parkinson's and tried to figure out what is the best type of exercise and treatment for people with Parkinson's. And he found through his literature review, sifting through all the literature out there, that with compelling evidence, aerobic exercise stands out to be the single best intervention to change disease course and slow Parkinson's progression. So how powerful is that? You have some power to change your disease course through the lifestyle changes that you make. Last article that I do want to highlight, as it was the first study of its kind, and it demonstrated that aerobic exercise, high intensity aerobic exercise, actually triggered a natural release of dopamine in the brain. And dopamine is that neurotransmitter that is depleted in people with Parkinson's, causing your movement and your non-movement, your non-motor symptoms. And when I talk about it created a natural release of dopamine, I am not saying that it created new dopamine out of thin air. What it did is it helped you better utilize the dopamine within your brain. So what this research study did is it took two groups of people with Parkinson's, a group of people that were sedentary and a group of people that were consistent exercisers that had Parkinson's. It had them cycle on a bike at high intensities for 30 minutes. And through fancy brain imaging, it measured their dopamine levels pre and post. And what it found is that, of course, even if you're sedentary and hop on a bike and do some high intensity exercise, you had improvements in your dopamine production. But the group that had tenfold significantly greater dopamine production was the group that were consistent exercisers. So all to say is it's really important to engage in this high intensity aerobic exercise and be consistent at it, because what it can do is it can trigger a natural release in dopamine, which is proposed. The idea is that it contributes towards slowing disease progression.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that's why that piece is so important.
I appreciate you sharing it. I think it's very important too to show the research, show the studies. As a PhD myself, it's always critical to have these things tested too. So the research you're stating is really accurate and also peer evaluated, which is important, everyone listening. So thank you. And I'm sure you also share a lot more of these throughout the year on your social media. I really enjoy the website, everyone. Again, Moved by Movement PT. You can see more about resources, read the raves I like the most. And also maybe we could touch a little bit about membership. Obviously I'm rejected here, but that's because I didn't sign up yet, but I do recommend everyone to sign up. There's also a lot of free resources and about which is the mission. And I already played this great video which showed you, which was fun to see you actually doing the movement live or recorded. So maybe you could touch a little bit on how does somebody get involved and work closer with you?
Yeah, I do want to touch first.
Please,
If you want to go back to the free PD webinar,
of course.
and I'm sure you will link it in the show notes. But if people want to know more information about, now you're sold on like, oh, I need to implement some high intensity aerobic exercise. So if people want to learn more about this, how to implement this type of program, I did, and I have created a free webinar that will walk you through the steps. So if you're interested, there is a link. I'm sure you'll put it in the show notes for people, and you will receive instant access to the information.
Thanks. That's excellent and really important to know. And also, I just, as we talk, like to play a lot of these because it's nice to see the actual, one thing we're doing now is trying to zoom into some of these events. So if you ever want to join us live from your event, just so people can see more than just us talking, I love this, but that's just the next step to all this for awareness. But how can someone, besides seeing the site, can you tell us a little bit about joining? And, I know we don't have to get into too much detail, but what does it entail if I sign up tomorrow and try to follow Dr. Katie's path?
Yeah, so what you're looking at first is I teach an outdoor exercise class in the park here in Reno. I'm in Reno. We do have weather, so it is available spring, summer, and fall. It's an intensive way to get that high intensity piece that we were talking about. But if you are not local to that area and you want more assistance with your exercise and want more resources, I have created an online membership called the Movement Matters membership that offers consistent access to high quality exercise care and resources. Now, I created this program because I witnessed firsthand the struggles that my clients and my patients face accessing consistent, key, high quality healthcare, particularly those with chronic conditions like Parkinson's, because you need consistent access, and that's really hard to come by. And our traditional healthcare system, it's not a knock on providers or anything like that. It's just that the way the system is set up, it's really hard to always provide intervention in a timely manner and education that people need and deserve. So I designed this membership to help people get that consistent access and care through exercise and resources. It is designed to help people. And if you go to, yeah, right there, perfect.
I read your
It's
mind.
to, yeah, it's designed to help people achieve more coordinated movement, to walk smoother, to have better strength and balance, and all toward with the goal of trying to work towards slowing disease progression and to stay active. And so that people can do the things that they love, like travel, keep up with their family, all of these things. It is exercise and research backed strategies, all accessible online from wherever and whenever you want. A lot of my members really enjoy that flexibility piece. Like, for example, one of my members, Ronnie, recently left to go to Canada for a couple weeks, and she was able to continue with her Parkinson's specific care and her exercise program despite being all the way in Canada. Versus if she was doing more of a traditional physical therapy model, she wouldn't have access to that kind of care. And I can't tell you how many times my members say it is when you're traveling, it's a lot more challenging. So it was very helpful for her to keep up on her exercise so that she could do all the things that she wanted to do during her travels to Canada.
I also like that you give different steps. So a lot of the time I forget that I need to also tell people what they can learn to improve. I just am more into the awareness, but leaving individuals like our listeners or everyone out there, please share this again with steps and things to kind of take their own journey too is important. And then it makes them feel like there's a sense of community with what you're doing. I'm just looking at those pictures outside in the park and I'm ready to join. So you need to see one of
Yeah.
these in South Florida. Unfortunately, you'll probably have other medical issues if you're in South Florida outside in the heat doing all this stuff. So, but
Oh, definitely. Going back to what you said, that community piece is so important. Your loved ones and people that don't have Parkinson's probably can't closely relate to some of the feelings and things that you're experiencing. So that's also why I love the group model, is because it really has that community piece built in to connect with a group of people that are like-minded and are experiencing some similar things, or you can bounce ideas off of one another and learn from each other.
It's amazing. And again, everyone, move by movement. Very important. You go check it out and try your best to share it too. It's not just about you signing up. If you enjoy it, you might see other individuals out there who need the help and support from the doctor. Now I wanted to kind of move to another area, which is more about you. So everybody loves this part. Hopefully the guests do too. So can you list 3 words that describe who you are?
Ooh, 3 words that describe who I am.
That's why we didn't
Um,
give these before, so you can't practice.
yeah, I would say very compassionate. I would say fun loving. And I would say 3 words. Oh gosh, this is really hard. I'm not the best at talking about myself, so this is
That's okay.
hard for
Two,
me.
we'll take two.
I don't love to toot my own horn.
We'll take two. That's perfect. What is one moment or one most memorable moment that stands out through your work so far with awareness that you could share?
Um, I would say probably it's the thing that actually helped me get into Parkinson's care and really sparked my love. That is back a while ago, about 9 years ago, when I was doing one of my clinical rotations in an outpatient neuro clinic, working with people with Parkinson's. And one of the clients, Dean, I will never forget this because it changed my trajectory and, boosted my career working with people with Parkinson's. He came in and he forgot his medication, his Parkinson's medication, and he was feeling really off. And he was like, I'm moving like the Tin Man. I feel really stiff. I don't want to be here. I almost turned around and went home and didn't want to do physical therapy. And he's like, I'm here, but like, I don't know how much I can do. And we started working out together and we did a high intensity 45-minute sweaty session where we were doing, sprints on the elliptical and all these different high intensity movements and powerful movements and that amplitude training that we were talking about. And at the very end, he moved so much better and he felt better than he had ever felt before, even with the medication. And his mood was lifted. And I think just seeing like how quickly that this can change, exercise can change your mood and your movement just really inspired me and motivated me to want to work with this population. So I'll never forget that.
Thanks for sharing that. And this is why we do this, because I feel that there could be even just one person that doesn't even know that what you do in exercise can slow the progression. 10 years ago, my mother was battling this. We didn't even have a minute to think about it or to kind of look for resources because they weren't out there. Even when they are, they're scattered. So that's what we started the website TogetherForSharon.com and featured individuals like yourself who are doing some important things and inspiring, if I say so, in my opinion, that really could change individuals' life, like the journey and story you just shared. So we send our love to him and all of your patients and also you. And now we want, this is my favorite question. I always say that, which is true, but this is not an easy job some days. I think you make it incredibly inspiring, but also when you smile, it makes others smile. But there must be some times where it's tough, take for instance, if you had my mother as a patient, some days she couldn't do anything. So it was just heartbreaking. I'm just wondering who helps you during times of struggle. We like to bring the people behind the scenes in your life to thank them too. And also the second part is I was a caregiver. What tips can you give those listening today who might be caregivers?
Yeah. So to answer that first piece, I would say building a community is so important. First and foremost, I obviously have to thank my partner, my husband. Um, he has been so supportive. I remember when I first brought up the idea of like, I want to change healthcare. I want to change how things are done and I want to do it on my own terms. And when I brought to him, I want to, venture out and start my own business to help people, to better help people, he was, yes, how can I support? So, first and foremost, I have to thank my loving husband and my family for all of their support. And they have been really big support systems. And then the community piece. I am part of a group of like minded individuals that are neurospecific physical therapists. It's through Neuro Collaborative. They are so great. There's a group of us that are rehab specialists that specialize in neuro, and we have all banded together to support one another as we start our own businesses to help people and change healthcare because we are seeing the same kind of struggles that our patients are facing, and it's causing us so much frustration that we want to help people in different ways. So those two communities are so important.
Well, we thank them and send our love and support to all of them too. Like
Mm.
it doesn't just affect Parkinson's, the individual diagnosed, but everybody around, family, friends, community, and even the therapist, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
it's always a question I always have because I think I would be tough for me seeing, where you're giving an exercise and either the individual can't do it at the time, but you don't give up, everyone. You just give it a minute, breathe and try again and never give up. So thank you. Next area was, is there something you might have, I know we're both younger, but I'm sure you've been doing it for at least a decade, but is there something you might have done differently looking back in the last 10 years?
Yeah, I do want to go back to the caregiver piece. I
Please,
think I didn't
take your
give advice for the caregiver
time.
piece.
We're
Um,
not, we'll always be here, so it's okay.
yes, I think it is very important that caregivers, I know you're doing a lot for the people that you love and your loved ones, but it's also important to not forget about yourself and to care for yourself. Because if you are not your optimal health and well being, then you can't best take care of the people that you love. So, in the membership, I do have a couple. One of them is somebody with Parkinson's, and the other one is the care partner. She is the wife, and they both do the membership as well. So they can get their exercise in together at the same time. So I think that piece is important, is that setting aside time to take care of yourself as well. I know that is so much easier said than done, but just remember that you are equally important,
I appreciate
if
it.
not more, actually.
Yeah, I mean, my mother unfortunately struggled by herself. She didn't have a husband at the time, and she's divorced, so it was kind of up to me and her to step up and do as much as we can. But I remember one time towards the end last year, I came into the house and the therapist ran up. It was more like a person assigned. It wasn't someone private, but it's like she just can't do it. And then, but he didn't do it very professional. Like I think she might have heard and that really upset her. So I wish that didn't happen, but I do see so much positive only, no negative, only positive in having therapy, but also someone who's caring and also patient. I think that's a big, it's funny, they're patients, but you really have to be patient too. So thank you.
Yes, that's so important. I mean, that inspiration piece is so important, but I also understand there is a time and a place to sit down and be realistic with people. It's just really your delivery is important in this.
Yeah, that's a different show for that guy.
Yeah, yes, totally. That's a whole other can of worms.
And, so back to the original one, is there anything different? You might not have anything, but that you might have done looking back the last few years?
Anything I would have done differently? Probably, honestly, start this business sooner,
Nice.
to be honest. I think I was hesitant. You know, I'm not a business person. I just kind of fell into this, and now doing it, I'm helping people in a better way that's more meaningful to them. And so I wish I started it sooner. So anybody that is dabbling and is interested, I highly encourage you to start that business venture sooner rather than later.
Well, some of the most incredible ideas like yours come from just falling into it. So hopefully I'll see you on Shark Tank one day.
There we go.
Next is an important one. I think you're doing enough of it, but what do you think, and what do you think we could do to gain more awareness for therapy? How, all the things we're talking about today and that you really work 24/7 to express. How do we get more awareness? I try to go on a million shows that, not this show, but others for people who don't have Parkinson's and people who aren't aware, trying to pull everybody in because they don't even realize that therapy can slow the progression. So what can we all do together, which I think is very key, is together, but to, focus more and get the word out of what you're doing and move by movement.
Yeah, I think sharing this information more with people. I feel like we tend to learn some information and then we kind of want to like keep it to ourselves, or we don't want to share it. But I think sharing and being more open is really, really helpful. There are so many people that don't realize there are neurospecific and Parkinson specific physical therapists and rehab providers out there. If you see a generalist, it's better than seeing nobody, of course, but there are people that are specific and specialize in Parkinson's care. It's the same situation as your medical doctor care, same thing. You shouldn't be seeing, ideally, if you can help it, a general practitioner, a primary care provider to manage your Parkinson's. You should be seeing somebody that specializes in it, a neurologist, or ideally a movement disorder specialist. But so just so that people know, I think spreading that awareness, hey, like, did you know that there are Parkinson specific physical therapists and rehab providers out there? And just being open to like sharing and not gatekeeping all this information. And that's what I try to do through my website and through different social media platforms, is really get people some of this information.
Well, I'm a victim because I didn't even know until I met you. I didn't know that there, because you don't think it. You think it's physical therapy and that's it. But to know that the specific is very important, and also probably not as many individuals out there, which is why they need to reach out to you. Here's the next area is who is your hero or inspiration?
Who is my hero or my inspiration?
That one was a newly added question, just saying.
Okay.
The last 2 weeks.
I would say my husband for sure. He also is in healthcare, and it is just inspiring to see also his dedication and care for his patients as well. And he inspires me to be a better provider as well. We inspire each other, and I think he's thinking about doing his own thing as well. So we can continue to inspire one another.
That's amazing. And it's important to have the support. In my book, I wrote a little chapter about how important my wife's support is even today, and my children. So thanks for sharing that. As we wrap up, just a few more. If you were asked to write a script to a movie about your life story, what would you call it?
Oh my God.
Now you've
What would
left the
I?
show. We've left the show, and now it's become, you're going to have a movie, a script, and a book.
Yeah,
And I
seriously.
hope so.
I would probably, one of my favorite words, I would probably call it something related to movement.
Yeah.
Movement of the idea of our body, movement of the idea of like our lives, how it moves in time. Um, it just carries such a big meaning to me, like this whole health and wellness piece, and is so important. So something related to movement.
I think that's perfect. We need more of that.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I do a lot of research and don't see enough with the word. And I think we need more movies and documentaries and all that. It's not easy. I've been working on one, but it's not, it's too hard because you have to travel a lot. But I would love to, I'll be the first to buy the popcorn in line for yours. Your movie. And then, if you could, final questions, and also if you could share again, everyone go to Move by Movement, but if you can let us know how to reach you, and also if you could leave the Parkinson's community with some words of encouragement, what would they be?
Yeah. First, if I could leave the
Please.
Parkinson's community with some words of encouragement, uh, I want people to realize, of course, I am not an individual living with Parkinson's. I cannot relate on certain levels. I have had and seen many people with Parkinson's. So I will say you have more power to change your disease course than you realize. Through lifestyle changes, exercise, and movement, you have the power to change things more. And I cannot tell you how much I see that time and time again. Those people that are exercisers and are consistent, and being an exerciser lends itself also to those other lifestyle pieces like diet and just focusing on your health and wellness. Those people that are consistently exercising and looking at their health and wellness do a lot better than those that are just sedentary. So just people realizing that they have more power than just taking a pill and hoping that everything goes a-okay.
Well, thank you for
And
that. I really appreciate your time, enjoyed the conversation, but remember, everybody need to share this. It doesn't end today. This conversation, I feel, has to continue. There's so many people, including maybe you, that could lower the progression. Again, every journey is different. Some will really benefit tremendously immediately. Some might take some time. So always have patience, and also caring too, because it's about your health, but there are individuals out there like Dr. Katie who also care with her whole heart, and we send our love and support. And I just have one last area I wanted to let you, Dr. Katie, know, and everyone listening. We love you, we support you, we care a lot about you, and you're never alone. I, along with Dr. Katie, will advocate for you, and together I feel our voices are so much stronger. I always say I'm just getting started, because even though I'm not, when I, have tough days and things of my own, or think about my mother and Parkinson's, kind of some days you feel like giving up, but then I see your social media posts and all the work that you do, and I smile and realize that there is still incredible things out there and people and programs that I just want the world to know. And that's the only reason we do this. So again, so grateful for your time, and everyone, please again support Katie, moved by movement, and there's again so much more to come.
awesome. Thank you so much, George. And I appreciate all the work that you're doing. And if your listeners want to connect more with me, I am pretty active on Instagram at Dr. Katie PT, as well as feel free, you can join my email list. I'm very active there and send lots of tips and tricks and information and inspiration to people.
Thank you. I think I'll be subscribing and signing up. Do you have a YouTube channel, or is that next?
That's coming up. That's
Yeah.
next. So
When it
stay
is, you
tuned.
have to
And then
let
I'd
me.
love to have you
Yeah.
on.
No, no, let me know when it is out, because I'll share that too. Because we started something called Parkinson Connections, which is again completely free, where I just put everyone I see and anyone only in the Parkinson's community and share it. But it's really, my dream is not for our page; it's that everyone like you has over 1 million viewers, because that's what this is about. So it's just kind of bring everyone together, but throwing everyone back out to your pages, and that's it's pretty cool. It's also completely free, which doesn't hurt. So anyway, I appreciate everything. Again, thank you all for listening. Again, please share this. It's very important. This fight doesn't end until we find a cure. So we still have work to do. And Dr. Katie and I won't rest till there is a cure. So thanks, everyone. This has been another episode of Q&A with Sharon's son, George. Please stay tuned. So much more to come. Thanks, everyone.